Well, hello again and welcome to another episode of the Hyperion Adventures Podcast. I'm Tom. As always, I'm with my gorgeous, wonderful, intelligent, very hard-working...
Not this week.
That's not true. Disneyland Paris loving wife and co-host Michelle.
Oh, thank you, sweetie. And yes, I am a Disneyland Paris loving person. And hi, everybody.
So good to have you with us. We are recording this episode on Sunday, April 3rd, 2022. Hopefully you made it through April Fool's Day without any too many tricks out there. I know that social media, they're always trying to get you, and I never know what to believe on there, so I just choose not to believe it all until things are backed up.
Good thinking.
Yeah.
Smart.
Yeah.
Smart man.
Not really. But I think I got relatively unscathed out of April Fool's Day. I hope you did as well.
I sure did.
Yes. So thank you for joining us today. In the future, you can find us most everywhere you get podcasts. However, the very best place to find us is on our own website, HyperionAdventuresPodcast.com. And while you're there,
you'll be given an opportunity to join our newsletter subscriber group if you haven't done that already. And there's a little something extra that we'll talk about today.
Oh, there's always a little something extra that Michelle likes to throw in just for the newsletter subscribers. I'll be throwing in something extra in regards to next week as well that you will get the chance to know about. Well, maybe not know about, but respond to possibly first as well through the newsletter. But it's just mostly another way to be involved in the Hyperion Adventures podcast world.
Right. And we don't share that email address with anybody.
Nope.
Just to send you the newsletter.
Nope. That's it. Just once a week. Usually just sending you the newsletter to catch you up what's going on around here with us and with the show. Another great way to be involved with us is to follow us on social media. We're on Twitter at Hyperion Podcast, Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest at Hyperion Adventures Podcast. If you are on Facebook, come on over and join us for some good, positive Disney energy fun with our Hyperion Adventurers Facebook group.
It is such a great group. And I love how more and more I'm seeing them share with us like their favorite thing of the week. And that's always awesome. And we can celebrate together.
Yeah. And this week, I know, and we'll mention them in just a little bit here, they weren't necessarily purely Disney things that were mentioned. And that's what we're fine with. We just want to kind of share in our life's adventure together in a good, positive way on that Facebook group.
That's right.
Yeah. Another way you can find us is on YouTube. If you want to check us out there, just do a quick search for Hyperion Adventures Podcast, hit subscribe, and you'll know whenever we have a new video. And if you ever want to contact us for any reason, this week you may want to contact us for a reason. I'll let you know why. Please hit us up at our Gmail account, HyperionAdventuresPodcast@gmail.com.
That's right. And if there's ever a question about any of our episodes, I don't know, some might come up from this week's episode. It's kind of a unique topic. But anyways, feel free to send us an email with any questions or if there's something you want us to discuss.
Yeah, or if you just want to say hi.
That's true.
Say you listen to the show, you enjoy the show, that's fine as well. Speaking of that, if you do enjoy the show and you want to support this show, maybe get some good swag out of it, there's a couple ways you can do that. One is through our Spreadshirt shop where we have all sorts of different items, including, yes, of course, shirts, but coffee mugs, hats, all sorts of different things.
Aprons.
Yeah, all sorts of pajamas.
I know.
All sorts of fun different stuff in our various different logos, various sizes, various colors. To find us there, just go to Spreadshirt.com and you can do a search for Hyperion Adventures Podcast and all our items will come up. You can also go to our Linktree account, which is it's involved with all of our social media accounts. If you go to our profile page, you can go there and find your way there. And everything you purchase there, again, you can wear this great swag around through the parks or just at home, but also we get a portion of everything that you purchase from that shop.
Yes, and we appreciate the support.
Yes. Another great way people have supported us, and we really appreciate it, is through our Patreon page. If you want to go there, you can get some great swag as well there, including some other items. And we will have some interesting shows, some things that we're going to be involving you with, all our Patreon members, coming up here in the near future. And if you want to reach out and kind of take part in that group, we have tiers starting as low as $2 per month. Just go to patreon.com/Hyperion Adventures Podcast.
Yeah, we really appreciate our Patreons. It's not free to have a podcast, and I don't want to get into it a whole lot, but we just love that we have some supporters, and thank you very much.
Yeah, we appreciate all of you who have already chipped in and become Patreon members of this show. Now, before we start into this week's activities, we kind of always like to look back at the week that was, because even if you've had a tough week, we usually can seem to find a little bit of a gem here and there, some more than others in certain weeks, but there's always something out there. So we like to look back and find out what is our favorite thing from the week that was. And when we do this, we always start with Michelle. One, because she's awesome, wonderful, all things great in the world.
So
she does the best list. She has the best tips, and you're about to hear about some of the great research she does. But she almost always has the best favorite thing from the week that was. So Michelle, what was your favorite thing from this week?
Well, I think it was just the week in general. I had off. We did a staycation this time, and it was just a blast being with you all week.
Yeah, that was actually one of my favorite things, probably the most favorite thing I had from this week as well, just having time with you. We did some things around the house. We had plenty of time in the afternoon to have some snacks and a couple cocktails.
Our own little happy hours.
Enjoyed watching some TV, just had a good old time this week, and that was really nice to have some good quality time with you.
Yeah, thank you, baby.
So a couple other things that I had from this week that I wanted to point out, and one was really, congratulations to everybody that took place in the springtime surprise Run Disney races this weekend. Saw lots of pictures, lots of great costumes. Everybody looked fantastic. I think my favorite costume was the guy who dressed up as the fake cheese that comes in the snack pack, the Run Disney snack pack. That was a winner to me. So
creative.
Yeah, I love that so much. But especially wanted to give a shout out to our friends Pat and Charles from the Conversations podcast. Check out their show. It's a great show. But Pat raced in the Everest 5K that happened on the night of the 31st with his daughter, and they looked adorable and looked like they had a fantastic time. But Charles also raced with his wife Bernadette in the Race for the Taste 10K. That was their first Run Disney race, and I believe the first time they've ever run a race of that distance. They completed it. They looked great, and I wanted to congratulate them. My favorite thing from this week was seeing them in their pictures completing that race, even though we were supposed to be running with them, but we couldn't make it. But just so happy for them. Yeah,
totally, and just really proud of both families, getting out there and participating in a Run Disney event. And rock on to Bernadette going to Star Trek.
Makes total sense.
Girl after my heart.
Total sense.
She's the best.
Yeah. We're just so happy for them to get through that race, and it looked like they had a good time, even though it was, I guess the 10K was a little bit misty and wet, and humid, obviously, but it really looked impressive. The pictures looked great. Charles dressed up as Captain Rex from the Clone Wars and Rebels.
His costume was awesome.
It was great.
Too.
Yeah. It was just a good time had by all, and we can't wait to run a race with you in the future sometime out there at Walt Disney World.
Most definitely.
For sure. So we did have some favorite things from the week that was from some of our listeners as well. Start with Sue in the UK, who said this: my favorite thing this week is today. It's my birthday today, and I'm 60 years old. After spending the last 2 birthdays in lockdown, this one is special. I thought you might like to see a couple of pictures of the wonderful day, including my amazing Disney birthday cake.
It was beautiful.
Go check out that cake. Go to the Hyperion Adventurers Facebook group and go check out Sue's cake. It was phenomenal.
Yes.
So happy birthday, Sue.
Birthday. Yes.
That's awesome.
We wish we could have been there enjoying the cake with you and in celebrating your birthday, obviously.
Of course.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So we'll celebrate.
Thanks for sharing that with us. That was awesome.
That was awesome. We also got hit up by Scott in Minnesota, who said, my favorite thing from this week is the official start of golf season here in Minnesota. Okay. April 1st. That's not to say I haven't gotten in a few practice rounds already. Hey, as soon as the snow is gone, it's time to tee 'em up. Who cares if it's 35 degrees? I do. I care. That's what they make mittens for, right? Okay, Scott, I'm really happy for you. I love playing golf too. So that's great. And I know Scott's a big golf player. So that's fantastic.
Right. Maybe have to sometime do a Disney World golfing.
Yes, that would be a lot of fun, actually. I would love to do that. I've always wanted to play out there at the Disney golf courses. Never have, but I've always wanted to do it. Maybe sometime with Scott, that would be awesome. So if you have a favorite thing from the week, any week, please send it to us through the Gmail account, through social media. And just like we did now today, we will share them on an upcoming show.
Let's all celebrate together.
Yeah. So let's get to this week. We have lots of stuff for you this week, including a nearly 50-year-old guest favorite show gets set to make its return. We'll tell you all about that. We now know the dates of the Epcot favorite festival focused on yummy food and tasty beverages. We'll go through that. And get ready to get up and close and personal with some of your favorite Disney characters. We'll tell you about that as well. But enough about all that. Let's go ahead and get to our main topic of the week. Yes, so for this week's main topic, we are quickly approaching on the actual anniversary date for Disneyland Paris, originally Euro Disney. And so Michelle had this great idea. Let's take a look back at what makes Disneyland Paris so special, some of the history, what's going on with it today for the celebration. I'm really excited to hear about this because Michelle does such great research. And I know every time she does one of these, I learn something new. So Michelle, tell us a little bit about Disneyland Paris, 30 years of Euro Disney magic.
All right. Well, I had a very unique opportunity to do the research this time. As my hubby knows, and a lot of you know, I'm kind of an avid collector of things Disney, and I kept magazines that my family had received even back in the 90s when Euro Disney was first about to open. So I had some unique access to some historical data, kind of like firsthand from the company in print, which was a unique way to find information.
Yeah, if you look at our title card for this episode, some of the pictures that are included in it are out of the magazines. I took snapped some pictures from the actual magazine insert in there and put them into because there's some cool historical Euro Disney pictures there.
Right. Yeah. Thanks. And so, obviously I also looked online for some things, but it was a unique park from its opening. And we're kind of going to go through a little of that and some of the, kind of the bumpy roads that it had to face. Not to say that it's not a wonderful place to visit. We've gone a couple times and can't wait to go again. And, we'll maybe share a little bit about that in our presentation. But I do want to take this opportunity to, share again a sound bit that when we interviewed Lee Cockrell, who was in charge of, kind of this rollout of Euro Disneyland, when we had interviewed him, the first time we interviewed him, I believe it was, he actually shared some of his personal experience with opening that park. So I think that would be a great way to start the segment.
Oh, the hard part was they didn't know about Disney like we do here. So we were hiring hundreds of people. I had to hire 200 managers, and hopefully they spoke some French, and a lot of them had American wives, and we had to get them moved there, and we had to do everything in 5 languages, the menus, check in, check out. It was, and I would say the American workforce, they probably work too much to a fault, and the French enjoy their time off, so we had a lot of issues, and but they were great people eventually when you got them all in. But we hired people from Ireland, UK, Germany, Spain, France, So for me, it was just people from, every culture is a little different, and getting all of them to work together and start something up new. Nobody's ever done it before, so it was a massive training issue.
So, that just kind of introduces a little bit of some of the things that, the company faced as they were opening up this new park. But before we get into some of the details of that, I wanted to also address kind of, I don't know if it's the elephant in the room, but, as the poet said, a rose by any other name is still a rose. And the name of this resort has changed over time. So as we mentioned, when it first opened in 1992, it was referred to as Euro Disney. And then it was just 2 years later, in 1994, that the name officially changed to Disneyland Paris. But that's not where it stopped. In 2002, when they added the Walt Disney Studios Park, the name changed again to Disneyland Resort Paris. But finally, on May 2nd, 2009, the name was changed back to Disneyland Paris, which is what it holds today.
Yeah, I believe that if you go there, the Disneyland portion of it is called like Park Disneyland, PARC,
Right.
Disneyland, and then there's the Walt Disney Studios, which is the other portion of it. It's laid out a little bit like Disneyland in California,
Right.
in that the parks are very close to one another.
Mm-hmm.
That you can actually, if you have a park hopper option on your pass,
Right.
you can walk easily between the two parks.
Right, exactly. So, good point. So, kind of the reason why they actually even decided to do this park was they had really tremendous success at Tokyo Disneyland. And really what Tokyo Disneyland wanted was just replicate what the Disney company already had and put it in our country, and it flourished, and it was actually relatively smooth transition. So that's what made them start deciding, hey, let's expand, and where else should we go is Europe. And, without going into a lot of details, they ended up deciding on this 5,000-acre farmland that was about 20 miles east of Paris. So the park opening was actually a very ambitious beginning, how they, approached it. It was not like what Walt did with Disneyland. I mean, not that he didn't do it ambitious. His was ambitious because it had never been done before. But this one was ambitious because they were trying to make sure that they had something grand enough to fit in France. Phase 1, which they called it on opening, had 29 attractions, 37 shops, 29 food locations, 6 hotels, a campground, an entertainment center with shops, restaurants, and a Wild West dinner show, as well as a golf course. So a lot of things going there.
Sure.
They were at the time utilizing the latest technology in attractions. And one example that I found really interesting reading about was in their castle, you can actually go underneath, and there is a 79-foot dragon. 79-foot long dragon. That's pretty large.
Yeah.
And when they opened the park at that time, that dragon was the largest audio animatronic figure in the world.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
I know, right? So when the park was first completed, it was considered by many in the industry to be actually the most beautiful of all the Disney parks that were around. So, in fact, Bob Fitzpatrick, who was the president of Euro Disney at the time, said, "This is the most wonderful park we have ever created. Every detail is designed to tell a story." And speaking of storytelling, I don't know if you've heard of this guy. His name was Marty Sklar.
Heard a little bit about him.
Yeah, wonderful guy. Anyways, what he said is, "We knew that language would be a problem, so we made everything with as clear storylines as possible. You don't need language to communicate the stories." So, I mean, we've always said that, Disney parks, the whole thing, Walt took the ideas of the movie sets and just kind of used those same techniques in telling stories in the park. And that's what their goal was here. And details galore. And we could do many episodes on all the details of the Disney parks, especially Disneyland Paris. But I did want to share a few that seem kind of interesting, kind of cute. So the first one is related to one of their restaurants on Main Street called Walt's, an American Restaurant. It's currently closed, but about to reopen on the actual 30th anniversary in April in this month. But some of the cute details that they included there is they have, how like restaurants will say established and then they'll give a date. So this one says established Chicago 1901, which reflects the year in the place of Walt's birth. The other cute little thing they have is an address of 1401 Flower Street. So, honey, do you remember what that is the address for?
Was that Walt's original home?
No, but you're on the right track. It's actually the address of Walt Disney Imagineering in Glendale, California.
Oh, okay.
But 1401 does come to play in another part of Disney parks. Can you remember that?
No. Whenever you do trivia, that's why I learn new things all the time. It's because I don't know stuff.
Okay, you're going to kick it. You know this one. 1401. That's us.
1401.
So yes, from Star Tours.
I need Pat and Charles here to do a good C3PO.
Oh, I know,
us.
totally.
Yeah.
Yes, we're just embarrassing ourselves trying.
Yeah. 1401.
We just need sound bites from them to just put into our podcast every once in a while. So,
just get the
guys,
Pat and
we'll
Charles
be in touch.
soundboard. Yes.
The other interesting details that they had at this restaurant is that the menu was actually a photo album detailing Walt's life, from his childhood in Missouri throughout the construction of Disneyland. So really cute examples of storytelling of the history of the original, designer of the parks. The other thing that was interesting is Peter Pan's flight. They not only pay homage to, the classic animation Disney film, but they also include references to Sir James Matthew Barrie, who was the author of the original novel. And in fact, one such example is in the queue. There's the name of his hometown in Scotland written on one of the gates. So really cute examples of detail. Some other ones is It's a Small World. Now, you would think, okay, they had opened It's a Small World at Disneyland, at Walt Disney World, at Tokyo Disneyland, so why not just replicate all that? But no. Disneyland Paris costuming department actually did some real in-depth research. The team, looked at books, magazines, researched folk costumes, visited museums and festivals, all related to world culture to make sure that their designs really reflected, and paid homage to those different countries around the world.
Well, I mean, it makes sense. Not that people don't travel to Disneyland or Walt Disney World from all around the world, but and this was come up. I was thinking about this earlier when you were mentioning how they had to be able to tell stories within the park, based on without necessarily having one specific language involved, because of the fact that when you're in a place like Paris. All these different countries are within just a couple hours train or flight away, or even drive away from this park. So you've got English speakers, you got French speakers, of course,
right?
German, Italian, all sorts of different languages, just within a really small area that could be visiting this park. Not to mention, they could be coming from Asia somewhere or whatever. So they kind of have to be prepared for this. And that same goes for all the different children of It's a Small World, and the fact that, there are so many different countries that are represented there that will be visiting that park within, just a small distance away.
True.
So you'd probably want them to be as accurate as possible.
Very good point. Very good point. And one last example of detail, and the reason I think I chose to share this one is, we've told the story before of how Walt really wanted to make Sleeping Beauty Castle special and added the gold leaf, even though his brother was really thinking that wasn't necessary. But Walt really felt that was important to the story. They also included gold on the top of their castle here. But the interesting part of detail here is that there are small golden snails going towards the top of the castle, paying homage to, the typical French culinary tradition from Burgundy. So escargot.
Escargot.
So
yes.
It's something that you really probably can't see because it's pretty high up there. But again, it's really how the Imagineers wanted to make sure everything weaved through this special place, really brought together a history of not just the company, but of the culture it was, surrounded by.
Yeah, and I think Sleeping Beauty it'd be tough for me. I mean, I love Cinderella Castle at Walt Disney World at Magic Kingdom. The first original Sleeping Beauty Castle at Disneyland. It's tiny, but it's special and it's beautiful in its own way. But it's hard to match up with Sleeping Beauty Castle at Disneyland Paris. That thing is stunning, and the way they've done the landscape around it and everything, it is a gorgeous, gorgeous castle. And if you ever get the chance to go there, I mean, you're going to want to snap so many pictures at that beautiful castle.
So true, you know. I mean, like you said, I mean, the castles in other parts of the world were, you know, at that time especially, were inspired by European castles. So this one, they knew they had to really do something spectacular, and they hit the mark.
Yeah, I think so. I would, you know, I love Cinderella Castle at Magic Kingdom. But that may be my favorite castle that we've ever seen in person. Now, we haven't seen the Asian parks yet. I don't know what we would feel when we saw those in person. But Sleeping Beauty Castle at Disneyland Paris is gorgeous.
It's beautiful. Yeah. It really is. Okay, so as you heard at the beginning, you know, with Lee, it wasn't all easygoing. Some things were financial issues, and some were growing pains. And so just kind of, I think, appreciating what they had to overcome can really help you appreciate what they are celebrating now at their 30th anniversary. So thought it'd be good to kind of touch on some of these things.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, Euro Disney, and we all know that at the beginning, it was kind of a joke almost, you know, it was laughed at, like, you know, the failure that Euro Disney was.
Right.
And, it's amazing to see the turnaround it's made.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. So, you know, the company was actually, you know, still early in the phase of learning how to create this special place in a new environment. And some of the things that worked at Tokyo Disneyland weren't going to work in Euro Disney. So, you know, when I was looking at those early magazine articles, you know, one of the things that I thought really captured a great concept is that they said they weren't trying to take American culture to France. They were taking Disney culture to Europe. You know, and that's what they were trying to do. And with a lot of things, until people can really get to see all the stories, you know, that were being told in the park, etc. You know, people have some of these issues of what they think it is and what it may be, and it may not be quite that. The other thing, and Lee touched on it as well, is that most of the cast members that they had to hire had never been to a Disney park. So they didn't have that point of reference to say, okay, I know what I'm supposed to look like and how I am supposed to, you know, reference people as cast members, and just, you know, the whole culture, Disney culture. They didn't have that to draw from. And, you know, in training all these people, they did bring some people over to the U.S. to train, but they couldn't bring everybody. So again, they were trying to replicate in a classroom setting what it was going to be like on stage, as they call it. And that's not necessarily easily transferable.
Yeah, especially like we were just mentioning about all the different languages that could, from people that could come in there, and how that could be an issue as well. The different cultures that are, you know, just within a small distance there within Europe itself. There were a lot of different things that were thrown at them. Not to mention that there were some economic issues that were going on at the same exact time as they're trying to open this park and make it flourish. That kind of was, you know, a lot of things, a lot of hills for them to overcome, a lot of obstacles for them to overcome.
Definitely. Yeah. So, you know, so I think this is a good segue where you're talking about some of those financial challenges that they had. So at first, things seemed really great when they opened, you know, but, you know, in fact, they were, I saw in one of the articles that their goal was to get 11 million visitors during the first year, and they did succeed at that. But because of some economic conditions that were going on in the times, you know, just from the communities in Europe, et cetera, plus that the company now had to pay huge interest payments on the debt that they incurred from the construction, they were losing quite a bit of money on their first year. And keep in mind that the Disney company was not the owner. They were part owners of this, but not the full owners. So that also played into, their ability to make some decisions on things because they weren't the majority holder at the time.
More consultants than anything else,
Right.
just adding their name to it and trying to help them show what a Disney property was. But when it was all said and done, when a vote came down, they didn't have the voting power.
Right, exactly. So in 1994, as part of a financial reorganization, the Euro Disney Company actually sold shares, 10% stake in the Euro Disney Company, to Prince Al-Walid from Saudi Arabia, and that helped infuse some money into the company, and they actually did show a profit by 1995. So that was, some movements in the
growth,
good direction.
yes.
Right. But then again, in 2012, they decided to consolidate debt from a number of the banks into a loan that they actually got from the Disney company. So now we're starting to see that the Disney company is becoming more involved in the financial solvency, of this park. And then a couple years later, in 2014, through another rescue package, they pledged at least 1 billion euros in over 10 years to add attractions and, spruce up the grounds. And I think, we kind of had gone there before that time, and we had some noticeable impressions about the park compared to some of the other Disney parks.
Yeah, I mean, there was very much Disney within it, in the fact that, it had the attractions you would mostly expect, the characters you would mostly expect. But there was this feeling like, with the cast members and some other things that happened, some of the hotels even, that it was Disney, but it didn't quite feel Disney like when you went to the parks. And, we were really happy to see when Disney decided to kind of take the reins back over and infuse this money into it and say, look, we're going to take charge of this and make it be Disney again. And we're very excited to go back and check out the differences for sure.
Right. So the following year, in 2015, unfortunately, Paris ended up dealing with a very sad situation of the Paris terrorist attacks. And, businesses throughout France were having some challenges in relationship to, travel and people coming into the country, et cetera. So that obviously impacted the bottom line as well. So as you can see, whether you call it Euro Disney or as it transformed into Disneyland Paris, there were things all along their 30-year history so far that really challenged them to, like I said, become what they are becoming now. And like you alluded to, in 2017, the Disney company made a decision to buy out the other investors and become the sole owner of Disneyland Paris, and really have that ability to control and know how to, infuse the Disney culture completely into the park.
Plus, all the money they're now agreed to put into it, they can build all these new areas and because when we were there, the actually park Disneyland, I enjoyed very much. It's a really beautiful park, lots of great stuff there. Could it have been improved? Sure, but we did enjoy that. The Walt Disney Studios Park needed a lot of love. It kind of reminded me of what. I don't even know if it was as good as Disney California Adventure Park was when it began. Opened, it might not even been as good as that. It was okay. It was a visit. It was interesting. I'm glad we went there, but it needed a lot to make it into a park that you'd say, yeah, I want to go. I definitely want to make that a part of my vacation itinerary to go back into that park. And now the stuff that they're including in it that's going to be opening up over the next few years really excites me very much.
Yeah. In one of the articles in the magazines, one of the magazines I read, it had their 25-year projection of what they wanted to do. And actually, they had planned from the before opening, they had planned to open that second park eventually. They were thinking they were going to do it within 2 or 3 years of the initial opening, and they were going to call it Disney MGM, like the one in Orlando was at the time. But that didn't actually happen, for quite a long time later. And as we saw with some of the financial things, that was kind of the why. It's like when you're already struggling with cash, like we, with any of us with our budgets, right? Then you have to prioritize. And so, they realized they needed to expand and wanted to have that second park. So they did open the Walt Disney Studios. But like you said, it just didn't have the pizzazz. It didn't have, some of the things that make the parks great. Some of that had to do with the lack of finances. And some of it, I think like what we saw, like you mentioned, Disney California Adventure Park when it first opened, same kind of thing, right? That it was like, we got to open the second park in California. What can we put together? And we've talked about how the Imagineers were like, okay, we weren't given full, as much budget as we normally do. And so we pieced together things, but it just wasn't, as grand or as great at storytelling.
Yeah. And that was what our feeling was when we went there. You could tell it just lacked. It seemed like it was put together hastily.
Right.
And it just wasn't quite there yet.
Right.
But, things are changing, which I'm sure you'll be getting to here in a moment.
Right,
yeah.
exactly. Kind of like, where did they land now, And so Disneyland Paris has actually become Europe's top tourist destination. The park has continued to develop of having these immersive experiences using now characters from not only Disney, but Pixar, Marvel, and Star Wars franchises. And that we see that with all the parks that really, like they say, breathes new life into it, having, this expanded universe of characters to be able to incorporate into the storytelling. And in fact, in 2018, right after they, decided to become sole owners, they announced plans for a €2 billion multi-year expansion that would include obviously transformation of the Walt Disney Studio parks, as we were talking about, and adding 3 new areas based on Marvel, Frozen, honey.
I know,
and Star Wars.
Why do you think I'm excited to go back?
And the expansion.
All 3 of those things are like 3 of my favorite franchises right there.
Maybe not in that order, but we won't go into that detail. But anyways, the expansion also in that park will include a lake that will be the focal point and for new and enchanting entertainment experiences, they say. And we've seen what they can do with entertainment on water at the parks. And so we're really excited about that.
Yeah, I'm just excited for the whole thing. I'm looking forward to getting back. If we were going back to France, even most of Europe, there's a good chance that we would make some sort of stop at Disneyland Paris anyway, whether they were adding all this stuff or not.
Right.
But the fact that they're adding it, it just builds the excitement that much more.
Right. And just the fact that they, were doing improvements on what already existed. And, as we mentioned that early on, that when it opened, they were using the highest technology that was available at that time. That was not kept up. And so now they're, kind of having to go back and, reinfuse some money to upgrade to better technologies now. And I was reading online an interview with somebody at Disney, and I was surprised. I hadn't heard this story before, but the Ratatouille ride, which we enjoyed. We've only been on the one in Paris.
Yeah, we haven't been in Epcot yet.
I know.
Soon, hopefully. But
right.
We were at the studio. That was one of the saving graces of the studio.
Right.
The Ratatouille ride. Yeah.
Exactly. And so that actually, they've had to redo the flooring because they have found that how because it's a trackless system and how when it runs over the flooring that they had originally put in, it was starting to have some issues with connections, and then the ride would not work. The other interesting thing I ran across was that Big Thunder Mountain, they wanted to upgrade some things, so they did get some upgraded trains that actually went faster.
Oh, wow.
But the problem was not all the trains. So it was good when they were only using those trains, then everything was great. But when they had to bring in some of the other trains, then the timing would go off, and it would, for safety reasons, it would notice that there's things that are off timing from when they were supposed to go past certain checkpoints in the ride. And so then the ride would kind of break down to get things caught up.
It had to
and
be
safe.
tough on some of the cast members there, trying to get them loaded off and get them sent off and the right timing and everything. That had to be a bit tricky, I can imagine.
Yeah. So interesting things. So I did want to share a couple fun facts.
I love Michelle's fun facts.
And I don't have a ton more to add. I think I've tried to infuse some there, but a couple here. And one, I think it's one of those when I read it's like, obviously, but it was really endearing is, the tradition of having, that actually Walt started at Disneyland, of having names on the windows in the park, especially on Main Street, of people who, inspired or worked on things. Well, that tradition continued at Euro Disney when they opened, and one of the windows had the inscription, "Two Brothers Inc." I'm going to try to say this. Walter E. Disney and Roy O. Disney, dreamers and doers, with a quote, "If we can dream it, we can do it."
Yeah, that's beautiful.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Very cool, very cool. Another fun fact is when Euro Disney first opened, there was a specialty shop called Main Street Motors, and you could actually purchase an antique car. They had the average price of $100,000.
Oh, wow.
I know, right? Now you think
that's back then.
I know. So you think that's wild. Just had to throw this in because I've never had a place to put this in before, but I do want to give a shout out to our cousin Heidi, who shared this story with me, shared the article of this story at Disneyland in California. When it opened, they had a unique store as well. It was called The Wonderful Wizard of Bras. And they sold bras on Main Street, USA, and they were the 50s, very pointy kind of bras. So I guess the tradition.
Forget spirit jerseys. I got my Disney bra on. Good.
Right. But anyway, some unique shops when one of these parks opens, I guess. So, and I just want to give some shout outs about the highlights that they are incorporating in their 30th anniversary. And it's probably got to be also a challenge. You got Walt Disney World with their 50th anniversary kind of overshadowing this, but I think they're doing an enormously great job. And one of them, and we've seen this on social media, is their new show called Dream and Shine Brighter. And that's held at the Central Plaza in front of Sleeping Beauty Castle. And it celebrates 3 themes: the power of laugh, passion, and dreams. And this is a show that has more than 30 Disney characters and dancers with colorful floats and a very unique soundtrack. So great daytime show, yeah. And then at night they have Disney Delight, which is their new nighttime pre-show that combines video projections, illuminated water jets, lighting effects with the mist, which we love, and those iconic Disney songs. And then, with the big drone choreographed with over the castle with the big 30.
Yeah, you've probably seen pictures of it.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I think there's a picture of it in our title card there
cool,
as well. Yeah.
Cool. But, that's limited time, but that is really cool that they're using that amazing technology. And another highlight that is for summertime of this year is the opening of Avengers Campus. Mm-hmm. And we can't speak enough of how great we've experienced that here in California. We love that they're going to have it there. Some of the interactions of, the concept of stories throughout the Avengers campus around the world. So very cool.
I mentioned it again this week because it continuously happens, and I'm sure it'll be very similar there at Disneyland Paris. That whenever one of the things we love about Avengers Campus is that it's a living, breathing thing. Like when there's a new show or a new Marvel movie or new characters, or characters have different outfits, they change, they make appearances immediately in those outfits, including the night that Moon Knight appeared on Disney Plus. Moon Knight himself appeared there at Avengers Campus at Disney California Adventure Park, and that's so exciting to me that every time you go there you may see something new and interesting. And I love, I mean, as far as being actually in Avengers Campus, if you just take it for what it is, it may not hit the mark with you, but when you see all the phenomenal characters and all the interactions, it elevates it extremely over virtually every other portion of the park. And I just love that about it.
Yeah, it's very, very special.
Yeah.
So cool. So, I mean, that's kind of an overview, of like the history of Euro Disneyland. If you were getting to go there, I mean, you will see some similarities that you would experience at any Disney park. So like they do have Main Street USA. They have the castle, which is kind of the draw down the road there. They have the hub. They did have to flip Frontierland and Adventureland in the sequence of the hub from what we're accustomed to. And that's because they really wanted to bridge what was in Frontierland with Captain Hook on the ship, bridging over to Peter Pan's flight in Fantasyland. So, they utilized that storytelling there. But, you would have the essence of the same thing that you would experience in the other Disneylands or Magic Kingdom parks. And then we talked about the studios. It has some similarities. They have the Aerosmith ride that is being converted to a Guardians of the Galaxy themed ride as well. And so, it's like with any of the Disney parks that you go to, they're not going to be cookie cutters. And I think that's what we love about it, is that you can have a different experience in a different location, but still have that Disney magic.
Right. The Tomorrowland portion is very Jules Verne inspired.
Yes, and they actually call it Discoveryland.
Yeah. So it's if you look at it, it's like the future it's tomorrow through Jules Verne kind of. They even still have the submarine there, or a mock-up of the submarine
the
from
Nautilus.
20,000 Leagues Under the Sea that you can take a little walking tour through, which is really fun to do. But Space Mountain looks interesting. It has like a cannon launch from it, which is it is a cool looking area for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So anyways, so that's our look at Disneyland Paris and, celebrating with them their 30th anniversary. I'm so excited that they're having this evolution, and looking forward, like you said, to going again and exploring and really having a great time there.
Yeah, our first ever visit to Disneyland Paris was for its 15th. We were there during its 15th anniversary, or its Candlebration, as we got to know it by. But that was a lot of fun as well. And yes, we've gone another time since then. Look forward to getting back there, especially with all the new additions they're making, and how Disney will be more infused within it once we get back. But if you have the chance, if you get to Europe, make the detour, especially as a Disney fan. We probably don't have to tell you this as a Disney fan that you're going to want to do it, but we highly recommend it. It's easy to get to from the train, even if you're in the UK. I mean, the trains from London go there straight to it. You know, they have packages, tickets and train packages that you can work out to go there for a day or 2 days or whatever. Paris is really easy, really straight train there. Doesn't take very long at all. It's a fun train ride. Straight from the airports, really, really quick. But from anywhere in Europe, I mean, it's really easy to get around in Europe. I wish we had the train system that Europe has, because it's really easy to get around through Europe. But definitely put it on your list of stops if you're making a trip to Europe, if you haven't already.
Right. I mean, and if you're ever concerned about the issue of language, this is one of the international parks that I think they do such a splendid job of promoting both English and French. Obviously, as Lee mentioned, people that were hired need to be able to speak French and English, and some speak multiple languages in addition to that, but those are the core ones that they must speak. But even just in the attractions, you really get both flavors. you're not missing out on any of the story. Again, Marty gave that great information as to why, but really they do incorporate both languages very nicely.
Right. And a lot of the shows, you'll go there and you'll get a leaflet saying the shows are in this language on these times, the shows are in French this time, the shows are in German these times, whatever. So you can kind of plot out your day if there are certain shows that you want to go to check out.
Right. And then just some of the things like with the parade, since they're not going to have multiple parades, they do a blend. So they'll have, characters singing in French and then singing some similar songs in English, and the same thing with some of the attractions, that you'll get a blend so that you really understand what's going on. Mm-hmm. We didn't find any issues.
No, not at all. I had zero issue being there. English is spoken everywhere. Mm-hmm. Michelle knows plenty of French. I know a teeny tiny minuscule bit of French, just enough to get into a shop and out of a shop. But Michelle is always there to help me out when I'm really struggling. But it wasn't really necessary there as much. It was really, really easy. But it's a fun spot. Like I said, I can't wait to go back and see all the improvements they've made, but we enjoyed it even as it was. Like I said, it wasn't perfectly Disney when we went in, we went in 2008 and was it 2016? I think the second time we went. Wasn't fully Disney, but it still had that magic there that you love, and now it's only going to be even more so in the future. I mean,
the interesting thing, when we went in 2016, there were a lot of things there was at least 5 attractions, major attractions, that were closed for renovations that I think would have made it feel much more Disney to us. Star Tours was going through its renovation. I think Big Thunder was going, Space Mountain. There was a couple of others that were like, okay, a lot of the things that I think we would have said and experienced at that time, had they been opened, would have felt more like Disney.
Yeah, I think, the funny thing about it is we were there in 2008, which was for their 15th celebration year. I think when we were there in 2016, they were getting set for 25.
Right.
So that's why they had a lot of their attractions. Right. They were getting them refurbed and ready for the big 25th anniversary.
Right.
So we were affected by anniversaries both times we went there in different ways, but we still had a great time both times. And again, very excited for the improvements, the changes they're making, and all that's to come for what is already a great couple parks.
Right, exactly. So anything else you want to add to
No, that's it. That was great. Michelle always does the best research. Her segment's always some of the best episodes that we have on this show, for sure.
Well, thank you. I hope people liked it.
Yeah, and we'd love to know what your thoughts are. If you've been to Disneyland Paris, are you looking forward to going to Disneyland Paris? Let us know, and we'll share them on an upcoming show.
Yeah, and there's so much more that we could have talked about. I didn't talk anything about the hotels there, but there's so many stories behind the hotels, and just different things in the area as well.
Yeah, very nice. So that is our look at Disneyland Paris, 30 years of Euro Disney magic. Great job again, Michelle. Always do such a fantastic job with these studies into the history of some of these parks or attractions or whatever it may be. Always appreciate your work. And again, always learn something new.
Appreciate that.
Just don't hit me up with more trivia.
I'm sorry.
so bad at trivia.
You also have a really great memory, so I was a little surprised, the 1401.
1401?
But it was taken out of context. You were thinking Disneyland Paris.
Whatever. My brain is all over the place. Before we get to our Disney stories of the week, we finally have hit it. We have to get to our championship match for our Hyperion Adventures podcast Disney songs matchup. The final bracket of the tournament, the final matchup of the tournament. We have 2 songs left to make it. One that is a live action film, one that is from an animated film. And so the matchup is the 2 seed, Feed the Birds from Mary Poppins, versus a 3 seed, Be Our Guest from the animated, of course, Beauty and the Beast. Michelle, I believe you had one of those songs in your bracket. I had Be Our Guest. Did I have Be Our Guest? I can't even remember. I think I had Be Our Guest in there. No, I think I didn't. I don't think I had any of the songs there. I could go look, but it doesn't matter. I've already been eliminated. Michelle, which one of those songs did you have in your bracket?
The one of those songs that I had is Feed the Birds, and I actually selected that one as the winner.
And the winner of the Hyperion Adventures Podcast Disney Songs Madness Tournament is Feed the Birds from Mary Poppins.
Yes.
Michelle got it correct. I was way off of that. I had let it go, of course. You know me, hashtag Real Men Love Frozen. So I was way off. So that is the winner.
Wow,
that
very
is
cool.
the song that outlasted everybody else in the bracket this year. And we do have a winner of the tournament.
Does that mean I win?
You did not win. You did well. You beat me. That shouldn't come as a surprise. That's becoming much more often recently that she's beating me in a lot of things. She beat me, but she did not have the best bracket. Even if you had, you wouldn't be allowed to win.
I know.
But
I'm playing. Yeah.
we do have a winner of our tournament challenge and our prize pack that we've been telling you we're going to give away. And with a whopping 174 points, like he got most of them right. Ryan A.
Wow.
Ryan, congratulations.
Yay, Ryan.
Way to go. We will be contacting you to get your address so we can send you this prize pack. And good job to
Very
everybody.
cool.
Thank you, everybody who took part. This was chosen by you. We did not just randomly decide who win each song. As you can tell by Let It Go, not me in there. Obviously, it wasn't me. So thanks to everybody that took part.
Yes,
we hope you had
really
fun
appreciate
following
it.
along. We're going to do a different bracket next year, but I had a good time with that. I hope you did, Michelle.
Oh, thank you. I did too. I think it's like with the trivia. I think I put in some things that weren't as common. And so maybe, I know the next bracket actually won't have that issue. But
We're learning.
I know.
We're growing.
We're
We're
our own Euro Disney bumps here.
There we go. But no, I thought it was still great. I love that we had some songs in there that you haven't either heard in a long time or may have never heard before. And I thought that was a lot of fun. But when it came down to it, Walt's favorite song won. Walt's favorite song won.
I know. I was going to say something similar to that. That I was glad to see what one was. Something very classic, like you said, and Walt's favorite. So very cool. So thank you again, everybody.
So, yes, thanks everybody, and again, congratulations, Ryan A. We will be in touch with you about your prize pack. Now, let's get to the Disney stories of the week. I have a few for you this week, and we're going to start with there are many more returns coming, including some to the Walt Disney World Resort, one that's very, very big. And it's a nearly 50-year-old guest favorite show coming back, one that people have been waiting for a long time now. This from the Disney Parks blog. They say, get ready to clap your hands, stomp your feet, and sing along as the beloved musical dinner show, the Hoop-Dee-Doo Musical Review, returns this summer to the Walt Disney World Resort.
Yeah, that's awesome news. I remember when we actually were planning to participate in that for June of 2020.
Yes. We had plans for that, and something happened.
Right.
Go by the wayside. You've been before, right?
Yes,
I have not been yet.
Oh, yeah.
So I am looking forward to experiencing this again once it comes back.
Yeah.
So the story goes on to say the Pioneer Hall players and cast members will be welcoming back guests to this frontier-style family fun dining experience in Pioneer Hall at Disney's Fort Wilderness Resort. Boy, I'm having trouble. Disney's Fort Wilderness Resort and Campground. First debuting in 1974, Hoop-Dee-Doo will once again offer guests a rousing Wild West performance, singing zany comedy with lots of laughs and an unforgettable countrified feast full of fried chicken. Oh, the fried chicken there. I love the fried chicken there. Smoked barbecue ribs, a variety of savory sides, and of course, strawberry shortcake. Yum.
Yes.
Yeah. Hoop-Dee-Doo will return with a few updates to its script and scenery while staying true to the treasured experience the whole family can enjoy with the hilarious?
I know. I was going to say, what's that word?
Apparently, I'm going countrified with this. This is hilarious. With the hilarious, high-spirited, maybe that was because I was high-spirited afterwards. With the I did it again. With the hilarious, high-spirited entertainment that it's been known for all these years. That's hilarious.
That's hilarious, honey. Oh, I'm going to use that throughout this day.
So if you're hankering for a seat at the table, reservations will be available via DisneyWorld.com starting on May 26th. That's Michelle's birthday if you're looking for a gift for her. For showtimes beginning on June 23rd. So that's great news. Very exciting. I'm sure they had to make some changes due to, there are, look, COVID, as much as we want to pretend out there that COVID isn't really around anymore, it still is out there, and we still need to be a bit concerned about it. So they probably had to make some changes with this show, but I'm very excited to see it come back. It's a classic. Let's face it. It is as classic as you come from Walt Disney World.
Right. And one of the things we want to remind people that even if you're vegetarian or vegan, they will have options, just like they did in the past.
Yeah, so of course.
Don't feel like you can't go because of the food.
Yeah. Just a good time. I haven't been to the Hoop-Dee-Doo review, but I've been to other dinner music shows that are very similar to it, kind of taken off of the same style, and I've always enjoyed the heck out of them. And I'm looking forward to finally getting back and doing the Hoop-Dee-Doo once it comes back here in June. So very cool.
Very cool.
Staying at the Walt Disney World Resort, we now know the dates of the Epcot favorite festival that's focused on the yummy food and tasty beverages. Again, we go back to the Disney Parks blog. They say, get your appetite ready to sip, savor, and stroll because the Epcot International Food and Wine Festival presented by Corksicle returns on to Walt Disney World Resort on July 14th through November 19th. So again, it's going to be a long run for the Food and Wine Festival this year. They say our teams of Disney chefs, mixologists, and sommeliers have been testing, tasting, and collaborating to create a smorgasbord of culinary delights. Prepare your taste buds to go on a European, I'm stuck in Euro Disney, an Epicurean journey and discover new concepts and menu items at more than 25 global marketplaces located throughout Epcot. Returning favorites include the swanky saucy swine. I know that's a big favorite out there.
Yes.
Appleseed Orchard, Hops and Barley, Earth Eats hosted by Impossible, and Shimmering Sips hosted by Corksicle. Some global marketplaces will open a few weeks later as well to keep the 129-day event spicy, which we found last year was cool, was that you went out there early on and there were these various marketplaces open.
Right.
And then later on, some of the marketplaces would shift their menus and others would open brand new places that so when you went back later on in the year, you could experience some brand new things. I think that's cool.
Oh, it is. It's awesome. Glad they do that.
The Eat to the Beat concert series presented by Florida Blue Medicare returns this year with internationally recognized artists as well as local bands offering fun tunes on the American Gardens Theater stage. They'll be giving you more information about what acts will be appearing later, and you'll want to be a part of that because they always have some very interesting and cool bands that show up there. But that's not all. Beyond the sips and bites, a full menu of fun offers more ways for everyone in the family to enjoy the festival. Embark on a Ratatouille-inspired adventure that's très magnifique with Remy's Ratatouille Hide and Squeak. Kids of all ages can search for Remy on a savory scavenger hunt around Epcot. Simply purchase your map and stickers from select festival merchandise locations. You can also try delicious cheeses served in fun ways as part of Emil's Fromage Montage. Collect stamps in the festival passport after eligible purchases at global marketplaces. And of course, as always with every festival, lots of merchandise, home decor, all sorts of stuff, trading pins, all sorts of stuff available for you. But love the Food and Wine Festival and looking forward to experiencing that not too far from now. Just a few months away.
That's exciting. Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Getting some summer love.
Now to the story that when I was first reading it choked me up, and I'm going to hopefully get through this. I've had trouble already reading, but this one might choke me up because I think this is really, really cool. Get ready to get up close and personal again with your favorite Disney characters. Once again, to the Disney Parks blog. They said on Thursday, we're thrilled to tell you about another quintessential Disney entertainment experience that is on its way back as early as April 18th. So just a couple weeks away. We will start reintroducing traditional character greetings at Disneyland and Walt Disney World Resorts, as well as aboard Disney Cruise Line. That's right. Very soon you'll once again be able to hug Mickey Mouse. I knew it was going to get me.
You're hilarious. Hilarious.
Hilarious.
You're hilarious.
The hug. Oh, I'm going to hug every character when it comes back.
Yeah.
With their approval, by
Right.
the way. But, oh my gosh. Get an autograph from Mulan and share a laugh with Goofy. We know many of you have missed these special moments, and your Disney character friends have missed you too.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool.
During the past 2 years, we've taken a very gradual, intentional approach to health and safety protocols. Recent trends and guidance have provided opportunities for us to bring back some of our most beloved magic, like character greetings and dining experiences. While not all locations will be available immediately, we anticipate reopening in phases throughout the spring and early summer. So just really excited for that. It's going to be so amazing to be able to, I mean, the character interactions, they've done their best they could over the last couple years, trying to get the characters' experiences there for you. But the fact that we're going to be able to be there up close, throw our arms around Mickey or Minnie, get that up close picture, is just so very exciting to me. I know it's very exciting to you as well.
Oh,
Michelle.
Definitely. And I think about how, like, for kids, little kids especially, who, have always thought about just running up and hugging the characters, that, it must have been, at some point challenge or disappointment to, be held back from that. Without really getting a clear understanding of what's going on. So this is sweet that it's coming. They're coming back to us.
Yes. That's a big breakthrough on things coming back. I mean, we talked about the Hoop-de-Doo review coming back, but this is big for me.
Yeah.
I'm so very excited to get back to the parks and be out there with all the characters.
Yeah. I see an autograph book in your future.
For sure. For sure. Finally, one just really quick story here. Lucasfilm announced this week that its highly anticipated series Obi-Wan Kenobi's release date will be delayed, but it's only by a couple days, which is nice. It'll now drop on Friday, May 27th instead of May 25th. And the good news is that they will be releasing the first 2 episodes on that day. So yes, we're going to be delayed by a couple days over what was originally announced.
Right.
But 2 episodes on the first time. So that'll be exciting.
Yeah.
I'm very looking forward to that.
Friday night adventure.
Yeah. So that's it for the Disney stories of the week. However, we never leave you without giving you some sort of tip that might help you on your next vacation. And when we do this, we always start with Michelle. One, because she has the best lists. She does the best research. She's awesome, amazing, gorgeous, all things good in the world. But she definitely has the very best tip. So let's get to it. Here's Michelle's tip of the week.
You're too sweet, honey. So my tip is that if you are thinking of a special way to have a gender reveal party or a celebration.
Don't do it.
Without starting a fire in a state.
Yes. Injuring anybody.
Yes. You could actually do that at Disney parks. And obviously, if you are so inclined to and you want to spend money, there's lots of ways to spend
There's always ways to spend money at Disney. Yeah.
But, if your budget is more one that you just want to have something special to have a remembering of. Now I'm talking like you.
That's hilarious.
It's hilarious how I can talk. But anyways, if you want to have a special way to celebrate it with your family or your friends, there are ways to do it that aren't as necessarily as costly. And some things that you may or may not have thought about is, one way is to get those Mickey ears and have it embroidered on the back, whether it's a boy or it's a girl, and obviously balloons can be considered, but you could also use characters. You could, whether you want to use Mickey or Minnie in a box, or a prince or princess, or a lightsaber.
Ooh.
And that would be a very cool reveal as well.
I agree. What does the lightsaber light up? Is it pink or is it blue?
Right.
Do they have pink lightsaber? I'm trying to figure out. I mean, they kind of, Mace Windu's is kind of purplish, but I don't think they have a pink.
Well, when I researched this, it did imply that if you were to make your own lightsaber in Batu, that you could find colors that would be appropriate for reveals.
Kyber crystal. Interesting. Very cool. So, or is it just, it's a little Jedi or a little Sith Lord, either red or blue or green?
Yes, I think
what
we're digressing.
Do you think? Is it a middle child or is it going to be the first child?
Right, right. So, but anyways, you don't have to break the bank on it, but you could still have such a great time if you have purchased PhotoPass or whatever, and you want to involve that. one of the photographers to capture that moment as well. That's another way to keep it very special. But yeah, just don't light up anything.
No, don't injure anybody. No explosives, please.
Right.
Gender reveals are fine, but we've gotten a little out of hand with them. Let's do them simple like at Disney parks.
Right. Yes, exactly. Like I said, you could contact Disney and, just like you could have the most elaborate wedding or whatever family celebration. If you have the money and you want to do that, I'm sure that there's a lot that they will do. They do have their limits of what they won't do, but like I said, you could still have a really memorable, special moment of a gender reveal party at a Disney park.
And whatever you plan to do, maybe you might want to, especially if it's a little fringy, contact Disney and ask, is this okay if we do this? First.
Right.
You don't want to disrupt other guests and their experience on the day of. And give trouble to cast members as well. They have enough troubles to deal with going on out there. So good stuff.
Keep it simple and fun.
I agree with that. So just as all your days at Disney should be simple and fun.
Right.
So good job, Michelle. Michelle's tip.
Thank you.
Always the best tip. My tip is a really simple one this week. We already talked about it. Up close character interactions coming back beginning on April 18th. Take advantage of it. Hug them all. Ask their permission first, but hug them all. Get your autographs. Get those pictures. Have conversations with them, especially like some of the face characters, the Marvel characters. They have some of the best interactions you're going to get out there. We've missed them so much. Just make a day of it.
Yeah.
If you're a regular goer to the parks, make a day where you're just going to meet every character you can, because this is now become super special because it's been taken away from us for so long. Take advantage of the fact that they're coming back and use every chance you get to meet these characters and have those wonderful interactions we've been so missing.
Very good point, honey.
Thank you, sweetheart.
Good tip.
So that's it for this week. Next week, well, it's a big milestone week for us, actually. This will be our 200th official episode coming up this next week. Now, I know if you go look at it, it looks like we have more than 200 episodes, but some of those were like bonus episodes, which we don't count as our official
they weren't
episodes.
Our weekly ones. Yeah.
Right. So this is going to be actually our official 200th episode. So to celebrate that, we thought it'd be a good day to bring back a show that we've done annually for the last couple of years and that you've told us you've loved as well. So, it's going to be our third annual Ask Us Anything show, Michelle's favorite show.
I know. I don't know why I get worried. Our listeners are wonderful.
Right. So, what do you want to know? It could be Disney related. It could be something personal. It could just be something fun. Whatever you want, send us your questions. You can do it through the Gmail. You can do it through social media. We're going to put it out there through the newsletter. We're going to put it out there on social media later in the week. We want your questions, and we'll answer them on the show within a reason. We will try to answer most everything. Don't get too carried away. Keep it positive.
Right.
There may be a couple things that we do have to keep to ourselves, but we're going to try and make that very, very small. We're going to try and answer everything the best way we can.
Exactly.
And that's always
not
a lot of fun.
Inappropriate questions.
Not inappropriate, please.
It's a family show.
Yes, but we will do as much as we can to have some fun with that on the show. And I know our listeners in the past have come up with creative, interesting, fun questions, and I'm sure this year will be no different.
Exactly.
So, as for today, we appreciate that you joined us today. In the future, you can find us most everywhere you get podcasts. However, the very best place to find us is on our own website, HyperionAdventuresPodcast.com. And while you're there,
you can be signing up. Boy, now I'm really talking.
That's hilarious.
That's hilarious. You could sign up for our newsletter. Yes. I should just keep the sentence easy.
The newsletter is also hilarious. It's just another way to be involved in the Hyperion Adventures podcast world. And we'll have some special stuff that's going out to you this week through the newsletter that you'll get to see either. You'll be the only one to get to see it, or you'll get to see it first. Another great way to be involved with us is on social media. We're on Twitter at Hyperion Podcast, Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest at Hyperion Adventures Podcast. If you are on Facebook, come on over and join us for some good, positive Disney energy fun at our Hyperion Adventurers Facebook group.
Yeah, I love how it's growing. So please continue that trend. It's a great group.
Yeah, and please keep interacting with us there. We love seeing all your stuff that you all post on there. Also, we're on YouTube. If you want to find us there, just do a quick search for Hyperion Adventures Podcast. Hit subscribe, and you'll know whenever we have a new video. And if you ever want to contact us for any reason, please hit us up at our Gmail account, HyperionAdventuresPodcast@gmail.com.
And one of the things we ask of you, too, is if you could tell a family member or a friend about our podcast. We truly appreciate it.
Yeah, we got reached out. Actually, Frank Cardillo of Dillo's Diz just a couple of weeks ago told a friend of theirs about our show. They're having a Disneyland trip planned, and they said you should hit us up for any questions you had about Disneyland. So I responded to that person through Instagram, gave him some ideas, and thank you, Frank Cardillo. Yeah. Go check out Dillo's Diz, 3 Park Thursday with Dillo's Diz, and you could do that too. That'd be great. It's a great way to let people know about the show.
Yes, definitely. We appreciate it.
So that's it. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Hyperion Adventures podcast. We look forward to sharing some time with you again next week. Until that time, I'm Tom.
I'm Michelle.
And we hope that you have a magical week.
Bye.